Welcome, everybody, to the Genesis Mindset. And today we have another special guest. So, Almighty. So, those of you who are already here, I can already see there's a few people in the chat. Really pumped to see Almighty. And Almighty has pretty much been one of my favorite young dudes in the community and was actually one of the very first guys to reach out to me when I was diving deep into the Atropa ecosystem and trying to learn about liquidity providing. He was there, he explained everything to me, he explained all the concepts, and he really helped me to understand what was going on. And I could see, wow, he's actually miles ahead. And there's already people who are months into diving into the Atropa ecosystem. So these days, Almighty has actually been grinding and building. So he's actually been creating tokens. So he's the founder of the Mike token, which is a 2% rewards on INC. And it had a massive run up recently. So this is something we're going to be talking about. And basically, he's already planning an entire ecosystem around the Mike token. So getting him on to talk about that and Atropa and everything that he's learned about liquidity providing and tokens. So with that, let's get the young fella on. So
what's up, bro?
What's going on, Almighty?
Just sitting in the office.
Sitting in the office, another day, huh?
Yes, sir. Another day in crypto out of long time.
That's it, man. So what's going on? How's everything going? I just wanted to it's a bit weird because we've already been talking backstage, actually. So normally I invite people on and it's a bit of a weird vibe. So we'll just skip that, actually. So let's get straight into it. So what your Pulse chain, I want to know about what your journey is into Pulse chain. So what actually got you into crypto and what got you into Pulse chain?
Crypto. Pulse X sacrifice. Well, I bought Bitcoin early. Not cool early, just earlier than the normal crowd. Was buying on Cash App. Didn't really understand what was going on, how things are doing. I actually used the dark web pretty early. I won't talk about that. But using Bitcoin, obviously, and so that kind of got me to So when I saw Bitcoin, right, I was buying things on the dark net, for cheap cheap Bitcoin, and then I come back 3-4 years later and I see, whoa, it's way more expensive. But what I bought was, way cheaper. So I was like, wow, I didn't know the asset actually went up in price. So that's when it clicked for me. Started buying Bitcoin still on Cash App, just on the phone, makes it easy, whatever. Ended up getting into the Pulse X sacrifice late, like bad late, like $2,500 got me 7 million Pulse X. Yeah. So, wow. But I learned, right? Because I just threw money into something, not really reading or understanding what I did. So Richard Hart taught me a lesson right there. It was like, do your own research. And I didn't do much research. So got into the Pulse X sacrifice. Then I learned. Then I started doing the research on what it is, where we were going from there. And then it was kind of just a bloody downhill battle from there. I bought Hex at 15 cents on the way down. It's been a rough road, but it's ultimately I've gained more money than I've lost. So it's been an exciting journey. Just waiting for Pulse chain to launch, looking like that crazy kid at work every day, like, oh, this thing is coming out forever, and then just keeps getting delayed. I got the pleasure to work at a construction company that I have, the heads are, into crypto, right? They understand what crypto is. So it kind of gave me like a comfortability to speak with them about it. Fast forward, right? Now I'm ultimately not necessarily having to work construction anymore, right? These same guys kind of have me employed to just do crypto. So it's interesting. I get paid to actually do crypto now instead of work hard. And I'm, at a young age, that seems pretty successful. Like I'm still working. Like I still need to pay my bills. I'm not wealthy at any point, but wealthy in life. I think I'm wealthy in life. It's a good journey, bro. And the humbleness of the bear market, that kind of does a lot right there.
Say again about the bear market?
The humbling of the bear market, right? It kind of puts you in that spot.
So was that basically? So when did you actually get into Bitcoin? Where would you say you actually got into it and started purchasing it actively?
2016, 2015.
Oh wow!
Right, late 2015.
Wow.
But okay, so, like I said, not in an investment way. So it didn't really matter. It was money that just poof, gone. But then when you look at that, it's like, oh, I had this asset that did go up this much and I didn't hold on to it. So where that diamond hands comes in handy, right? So.
Okay, good on you. So would you say then, in terms of crypto cycles, is this your first actual crypto cycle bull market that you're in, or?
100%, like full
Oh,
from
nice, man.
bottom to the top. Yeah. So it's still, and then obviously in posting, we're not in that bull, right? Like even Richard Hart said, we're not even in a real bull yet. Like people think we're in a bull, but we're not there yet. Like this is just fun. Everyone's just been in a bloody market for so long. They think this is, bull market started when Bitcoin bottomed, right? But like the gains wise, where
I
people are like, oh,
understand.
my face melting, all that good stuff. So we're not there yet.
I feel you, man. Yeah, we're not really we're certainly nowhere near the peak euphoria or anything like that. Things are really just kicking off. So, oh, good on you, man. I'm really happy for you. Then, if this is your first bull market, you're very young, and this is something that I really like about you as well. You're very young and you work hard. I can see you work hard. It's like we have these conversations. It's like, bro, you should be asleep. It's like 4 a.m. You got work tomorrow.
I
What are you
don't
doing?
sleep, bro. I try, dude. That's why I basically told my boss, I was like, I can't do it anymore. Like, he'll see me at work. I'm like, he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, dude, I'm trading all night. Like, you don't understand.
Oh no, it's good, man. So, and you got a lot of fans. We got a lot of people already. So, welcome to everybody.
What's
Thanks,
up?
thanks a lot, everyone, for all the comments so far. We got a couple of goats in here. We got Brandon. We got Rags to Riches in here.
I
We
met him
got
at WAG
Adam,
too.
Fiber Finance. A few boys that I recognize here. Gibbo. A couple
Gibby.
of lads here. Surf and Coin. And here we go. Look at
Herb.
this. We got that's one handsome, cute young man by Jeet Dev. So
Yes,
awesome,
sir.
man. Good on you. So. So tell me then. So one of our first interactions was through Atropa. So when I was first diving deep into it, you were commenting on my videos and you reached out to me on Telegram and you were really like trying to show me the ropes. You could see that I was really struggling with trying to understand this. My
Yeah.
my brain is very complex and
Yeah.
it's not very simple. And what I want to know is how did you actually find out about Atropa? How early were you in the Atropa ecosystem and what was your journey into Atropa and liquidity providing?
Mm, I wouldn't necessarily, I mean, earlier than the crowd, right? But I wasn't like full deep, like throwing money into it because I wasn't convinced yet. It was something that, when they renounced the contract on Atropa, I aped in. I was like, oh yeah, I know what to do now. Because like ultimately, there's a trust layer in being a developer where you renounce the contract or you don't renounce the contract. And you can either mint crazy, change the taxes, you can do a whole bunch of things in the contract. So for me, I was like, y'all don't even know who this is, and we're just aping in. I was like, so I had to learn. And that gets into the Sunny conversation where, I met Sunny and did the rabbit hole basically with so I met one of my friends in Vegas at the CMC meetup for Dollar Cost Crypto. It was like a little VIP meetup, whatever, for a crypto group. Yeah, we went to Vegas and dude, we had a time, dude. Best time of my life. I would say that Dollar Cost Crypto, bro, with Charlie, bro. That shit was so much fun. But so I'm networked. Like when I got there was the whole point. Like I paid money so I could come network, and it actually worked out. One of the main dudes that I met at the airport was somebody that I networked with, and I showed him the Sunny chat, the pub, and he stayed in there when I got cussed out by Sunny. I left, and he stayed in there for a week. I know. And me and Sunny are like this now, so it's funny. So he stayed in there for a week and actually learned. Called me at like 2 a.m. So his time like 11 p.m. or something. And he's like, I get it. I understand. I get it now. And then like just started just rambling. He sounded crazy, but I knew what he was getting at. So ultimately he wasn't crazy. And we just started, we provided liquidity with A1A and B2B on everything. Like literally took like 10, 20K and just spread it out between everything on chain. And I'm up 6-7x on all my pools. So if I combined all that money, like it's doing really well. But it doesn't look like you're doing well because it's in liquidity pools, and there's not a dollar value on your that you can like really look at and pinpoint. But those pools are doing great, especially token count. So once I learned that the liquidity web, like what that actually did, then I looked at the Atropa, and then as soon as you start diving the actual tokens on Atropa, you're like, wait a second, this dude made poof money. He made imaginary money, but because he weighted it down into a real asset, right? Like Pulse, like where there's real backing behind it, DAI. So Pulse and DAI. And then he just started making coins and started attaching them. And it gets to the point where it's so webbed out. Like I can see it in my head and it looks crazy, but it makes sense, right? So if you're just webbed out this way and you can keep flooding the money back into the center point, and just keep doing it and keep flooding it back to the center point that's up and down to the market, right? It makes sense when you think about it for a long time. So that was, once I started getting that, and then I got screwed on MV like really bad. Didn't understand what I was doing still at that point, right? About $1,800 MV, like with a couple grand. And then I learned that it was a mint forever token, market volatility, which I think is what it stands for. And ultimately that token that I find out now that when the gas fees are high on posts, it'll be valuable. But that's it's a hidden secret. But yeah, so I got wrecked on that, and then I started really deep diving, and that was after I taught you about it, So me and that same buddy from Vegas bought MV together. We're like, oh, this is going, just 99%. So we were like, oh my goodness, bro. And then that's right. You have to get wrecked before you can really learn. That's why a lot of people will never learn, because if they don't get ultimately wrecked because they're afraid to get wrecked, they'll never learn. And that's what it is.
It's a very important lesson that the earlier you learn it, the better, because everybody's going to learn that lesson. You either learn it while you're really new into the game, or you learn it when your portfolio is worth 6 figures, 7 figures. You do not want to be learning it then. And one of the big lessons there was, I think a lot of people, and this is definitely not blaming Moon King, because I love Moon King. I think he's the absolute, like, he is the Moon King. He is a GOAT. He is amazingly good at what he does. And he was really talking about MV, and I was like, oh, Moon King's talking about MV, I'll just go into it. Didn't look into it, didn't know nothing about it, didn't realize it was a mint contract. So I think a lot of people really got caught off like this. So and what you said about Atropa, man, it's like connecting those dots. It's something that's not a simple story. Once all the pieces in your mind connect, it's like, oh, now I get it. And everybody has these like little revelations and epiphanies, but there's like two sides of the stories. There's people who don't know anything about it and who just say, oh, it's extracting liquidity from the chain. It's like a scam dev. It's like a scam dev who spent like hundreds and thousands of hours trying to scam people. It's like they would have scammed everyone by now.
You can't show anybody a transaction of the 414 dev bridging out. If you go look at one of their wallets that's on Ethereum, there's $200 million there.
People are adamant about that, man.
They don't need money, dude. I promise. They could have rugged a long time ago.
Exactly. And for me, it's like the evidence is not pointing in that direction. And if they did bridge something out, some person was very adamant about them doing this. It's like, well, they've created more inflow than outflow, like exponentially more. So again, it's just one of those things where once your brain starts piecing those things together and the information starts to get clear, and then it's almost just like you have this revelation, like, whoa, there's this absolute treasure on our ecosystem. And then you're like, everybody needs to know about this. This is amazing. Yeah. But again, people who don't know will FUD it, and people who do know are like, this is amazing. This is amazing. Yeah. It's like that contradiction of the human mind.
All you have to do is own one token, and you're bullish on it because you have that bias of like, oh, I own it, so it like DAI. If everyone just held 100K DAI, right? Not even 1 million, because 1 million now is kind of getting to the point where the regular guy couldn't get it. So if you just have 100K, I don't even know what 100K is, like $500 or something. I don't know, $400. And it's like, what is that, right? It's a $400 where one day you could have 100K. It's a good bet for me. Or it could go to zero, but like, I'm gonna weigh my odds, right?
That's it, man. It's really just all about that speculation. And I think anyone who really believes in the ecosystem really believes in that narrative. And that's the beauty of it, actually, because the more people that believe in the narrative, that's what actually brings it closer to fruition. If it didn't have anyone who believed in it, it's not going to come true. But there's a dev who's saying it can happen. There's a community that's building around it that's saying, yes, it can happen. There's evidence because it keeps climbing higher and higher. When it gets to the 1 cent mark, that is a big tick.
It's almost there, bro.
It is.
Like, that's the thing. It's like, dude, once we get to a penny, it's only 100. I know that sounds only 100, but it's literally only 100x from getting there. And people are like, oh, they'll dump it down when they get there. But what BFF is an experiment. It's an experiment to see. Once we get to 8K, you add all this lick. And when people try to dump it, it's going to be very difficult to. It's an experiment to see what DAI. It's a pre-planning DAI peg. It's trying to not peg BFF, right? But it's trying to create a layer where you aren't going underneath that. So the same thing would happen with DAI. I've tried to explain this to numerous people, and they're so shut off on their brain. Like once you get to $1 and you create a layer, just like, okay, BankX, right? They created a layer for eHex because that's in the news right now. They created a layer for eHex to where we can't go past that layer to get past it unless we had a lot of money, right? But Richard doesn't want to pay those people because they're scumbags. They created a stable coin backed by silver that did never come out. So he doesn't want to give those people the gratification. So he's moving everyone away from Ethereum to Pulse Chain and letting them either capitulate and get wrecked on slippage or bridge over into his playground where if they sell their eHex, he's got trillions. He could just buy it right back up and then we're Gucci. Like that's the thing. So anyways, back to the point, right? Is there's a layer of liquidity once we get to $1 that try to sell underneath it. There's only so many people that are going to be they're going to hold to that point, and also they're going to sell it down. Like say we get to 90 cents, they sell it down. Cool, it's going to get bought back up because it's so close to $1 that all the narrative will be like, oh my God, they sold their bag. Let's get it now because you're early on the dollar coin. Look what Richard did with the depegging, right? He I mean, it just went a couple cents down, but he aped into it, because that's a couple cents with millions and millions of dollars. Getting to $1 is a lot of money. So, I'm very bullish on pegging. It's happening 100%. And you can clip this video. I mean, I wish I have a video on Twitter, bro, August saying this. So, and that was the top. I will say that was the top. But the point is, it was a belief for a long time.
I'm with you, man. I never like to say things 100%, but I'm certainly 99.9%. And the core of my faith and conviction is in it. And it's as it actually gets closer, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because once we get to the 1 cent mark, yes, there's going to be a sell-off, but it's like you said, it's only 100x away. Then it gets to the 10 cent mark. It's like, it's probably going to have a sell-off again. But again, it's like, wow, we're actually getting closer. So then more people are going to look at it and go, what's going on here? More people are going to get interested. They're going to FOMO. Once it gets to 50 cent, again, it's like, wow, for my $1, I can 2x my $1 once this gets to $1.
That'll be a big narrative. 2x, because everyone's always looking for a double. Everyone's always looking for a double. So you see that double, you're gonna take it.
100%, man. And
I say 100%. Not to cut you off, I say 100% because does Pulse 100x from here? I think everyone would like to think so, right? From sack rate, you think, or a little above sack rate. I would think that Pulse would at least 100x from now. If Pulse does that, DAI is going to do that. Understand? If you understand math and liquidity bonding, it's literally has to.
And then also, everyone forgets about all the other P stables on the ecosystem. So you've got the USDC, USDT. There's a couple of others as well that
LUSD, but it's not necessarily pegged to those three. So those three are going to be the cores. USDT always falls behind because there's not that thick of liquidity with it, and it's not a good narrative because no one really likes USDT. I think it just depegged today or yesterday, just for a second. So it's a little oil up almighty. Oh my goodness. But God, that threw me off. So the one thing I will say though is USDC does not have a liquidity web yet. It's kind of solo. Where DAI has its web, USDT has its Mantisa web. USDC doesn't really have a web yet. So I've been really looking forward to that, especially since Richard did a lot with the PMaker and the PAUSD. So I've been waiting on that type of ecosystem to pop up. Eventually it has to happen. Yeah.
Same. Yeah, I think both of those are going to have a web that is going to be created through and around them in the same way that pDAI was. And pDAI is like the first. And I think it's the lowest risk because of the admin keys and what they're doing with the PMaker contract. But I think definitely there's going to be something going on. And what's that?
And Richard has a copy, by the way. He's got a copy.
Oh, yeah.
So
exactly. So there you go. So yeah, man, very exciting time. So, okay, what about liquidity providing? So tell me a little bit about your journey into liquidity providing. So you were saying you started providing all these liquidity on these Atropa tokens, and how did that unfold for you? What are some of the key learnings that you learned about your providing liquidity?
I got wrecked. Again, heard that. It's like the story of you getting wrecked, right? I could confidently say that I was one of the first people in the bridge because I was on my laptop when I saw Richard's tweet pop up in the corner. went straight to it, straight bridged in E-hex. I don't know why I had it liquid, straight bridged in E-hex. And so it's almost like I could compare it to being in school, right? Where when there's no one there. So you're just walking through the hallways, looking around, you're like, this isn't normal. This doesn't look right. I'm literally walking through after being on the test net forever. And I'm looking at all these ink pools basically, and they're 32,000% APRs and like 16,000%. So it's insane. And I'm like, whoa. So there was an EHEX wrap pulse one. Immediately sold into pulse, got wrecked because the price of EHEX was not the same price it was on Ethereum. It was way cheaper. So I'm wrecking myself. I bought 0.002 pHex and I held on to that. So I caught gains, but I bought it with a cheap EHEX. So I haven't even tried to do the math on it. I don't want to. But I was the first, not the Doxer wallet, but no one's gonna find this. I was the first 16K liquidity in the EHEX Pulse farm specifically. And dude, I was earning like $100 every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that. And I'm just like, I literally brought my laptop to work and was sitting there. I told my boss, I was like, dude, I can't even talk to you right now. I'm earning like $1,000 an hour. I'm like, bro, what the hell? And I'm just, just splurging it. Right. And then it started to run up to $80. And I was like, whoa, is this pulse chain? And then I caught that FOMO, right? So I understand that when we catch that pump up, like later in the cycle, I know how to react now, because early on, I literally caught that FOMO. I didn't buy into anything really, but I kind of just watched the charts and drooled to myself and then watched everything crash. I caught the Bitcoin pump real early. I bought it at like $100, watched Richard tweet and kill it at like 2K. But I'm trying to panic sell as soon as I saw him tweet. So providing liquidity early for me was just getting into the farms. I did it on Ethereum with Hedron and Hex, made some fees, but it was so expensive that it didn't make any sense to me. So I was really bullish on trying to get the pulse chain because I understood like the liquidity. It's cheap, right? You can actually make money versus just getting screwed on fees. So then, when I really learned was Sunny with the A1A ecosystem. When I went in there, he taught me an algorithm on how to see what pools were more lucrative versus another pool, just based on the volume and based on how much lick there was in it. And just learn from him, basically, trial and error. That's the best thing. The best thing he taught me was keep trying and keep failing and you'll get what works. So he told me 500 pulse and 500 wrapped Ethereum, the pulse wrapped Ethereum, because they're 1-to-1 for now. I say for now because there's a theory behind that. But so basically that 500 is at like 509 and 512, something like that, right? So I've earned tokens on each side. So when I started to see the 1 and the 2, like the 501 and the 502, then, I might see 500 and 503. And then the next week I might see, what I mean? It fluctuates. But essentially I understood like, oh, I'm earning tokens on each side the more the market moves. So I was like, that's crazy. So when I learned about A1A, understanding that that's a 1%, it was like, oh, that's a no-brainer. LP this with everything, and it all builds faster than what it would regularly build with. And I know that A1A is going to go up with the market because of all the LPs. So A1A was my lesson. Literally what it was made for is A1A B2B. And I learned because of what, token A plus token B is token C. That's probably the biggest thing that you've heard Sunny say. And it's essentially this token plus this token, you put them together and you create a PLP token. That PLP token is token C. You can do things with that PLP token, whether it's stake it, provide liquidity with it, right? A whole bunch of things. So that was my introduction to liquidity. And then V3 is a whole another subject though. V3 is different. Because I know you were talking to Spooky about V3 a week ago. So that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff is all happening on V2. So V3 is a little bit different because it can be single-sided. And you were mentioning actually V3 is not so effective with Hart's law when we were talking in DMs about that.
Yeah. I actually had to explain that in a space, which I was really shocked that I knew that versus, not trying to be cocky or anything, but that I knew that versus other people. I almost thought it was like common knowledge. That Richard literally said, I don't like V3. I like V2 because you put up 2 pairs of an asset. They have to equal the same dollar value. Like, so you put up a $5,000 and a $5,000 token A and token B has to equal $10,000, right? Now, whether this one is equal to 7,000 and this one equal to 3,000, right? They have to equal. So it's that Hart's law where you have to bond these things. With V3, you can take one side of an asset and put it there. It's not going to follow Hart's law that way. Richard Hart doesn't like that because look at BankX. What is BankX doing? They're using V3 to create a cell wall where we can't get past it now. And I learned that from Richard too early when he did the Hedron cell wall. So he didn't want Hedron to move past Hex. So he put up all his Hedron into a wall to where you can't get through there. So I understood that a big enough player could manipulate the market in such ways where Hart's wall wouldn't actually work. And I actually found a hexsearch.io, the best website to find what Richard says about old things and basically prove people wrong. It's a really good website. If you're wondering about anything, you just go to hexsearch.io and then you type in keywords that he said. So ink, you want to learn about ink, put it in there. You want to learn about DAI, put it in there. You want to learn about liquidity, you just type in liquidity and you'll find all the videos of the GOAT essentially talking about liquidity. But yeah, so V3 it doesn't work because there's not that even distribution. There's just a one side or like a 70 and a 30, and it can't bond that way. It just doesn't work. And he said it with his words. So, but V3 for us to be selfish, it makes sense. Like if I want to get rid of my entire pulse bag, I can put it at, like a half a penny. And then when we will never get to a penny unless you get through my bags and I get to be completely in DAI or something like that. So
there's certain advantages to V3 for sure. But I think in terms of participating in what I feel is one of the long-term visions of this whole chain of bringing the whole chain up together through the Atropa ecosystem, through Pulse Chain, through this web of liquidity providing and Hart's Law. I think V2 is, if it was going to be V3, Richard would have picked V3. Like he's the GOAT. So everything is very deliberate. It's not, there's no mistakes there. Everything is very deliberate.
But he could make a V3 Pulse X as speculation, right? Just to have that for him, because you need V3 because whales want V3. But I think for this cycle, he just kind of sticks to a V2. And if I'm wrong, sorry. But I think that he sticks to V2 just because of the bonding of Pulse X, and Ink. Like if you had that of V3, it just wouldn't do the same thing. But V3 for 9mm is bullish. I'm glad we have it. It's a really great, we needed it, but we don't necessarily need it. You know what I mean?
Sure. And hopefully more and more people really look at what the pros and cons are between the two and pick the one that they prefer based on their own principles and what they actually want out of this chain. So for me personally, I'm probably more than likely going to stick with V2 simply for the fact that it promotes the growth of the channel and it aligns with my principles of everybody really winning and this whole Hart's Law phenomena that's actually going on in Pulse Chain. So but I still like the idea of the way that I can, if I want to sell tokens, instead of just selling it to the market like that, providing liquidity through V3. I love that idea as well. So I do hope he does end up doing something with V3. And I wonder if it gets delayed as well, because unfortunately, that's just, people will go normally to where it benefits their own individual self more. So hopefully there's just more people that have this developing consciousness of, hey, let's actually keep doing things that's going to benefit me and you at the same time. Maybe my gains are going to be not as good as if I just, I'm going to do this all for myself. It might not be as good, but it'll have more of a long-term sustainable compounding effect. In my opinion, that's my thesis. That's my belief on the whole world, actually. So
yeah, auto compounds, V2 auto compounds versus V3. It's kind of selfish because you have your fees on the side. You could just scrape them off. It's good for us, but as a founder, right, I would rather somebody put liquidity on V2. It makes it even. It makes Hart's Law work. Yeah.
Nice, man.
It's definitely
cool.
Fun.
Okay, so just before we get into the mic ecosystem, so Gibson, I'm not too sure, man. I don't even know how to turn this on, so I'm gonna have to figure that out.
Man.
The super chat option. I'm gonna have to figure that out.
They're trying to drop the bag on you.
I appreciate that, Gibson. But I also did put for the first time in the stream, I've got a link to like a donation channel. So I don't do this with that expectation in mind, but I am a full-time volunteer. I put a lot of time into like researching and sharing this information. So if you guys do want to donate anything, there's a donate link in the description, but I will figure out how to do that super chat for future live streams. So thank you very much for that, Gibson. We got people talking about the Inc rewards, so we're going to get into that in just a minute. So awesome, nice. Devious. Vibra, what's Adam said here? So V3 comes out, it'll be a top signal from Go. Interesting.
Probably, because it'll be like, hey guys, you can sell this way.
Yeah. Oh, yes. That's very true, actually. That is a very good call. Adam has got some awesome content on his channel, by the way. His picks, the things he's been talking about, man, he is onto it. He's onto it. So here we go. Tahil A. He may be young, but he's switched on. Mike, let's go. I certainly agree, Tahil. So with that, let's get into what's going on with the Mike ecosystem. So tell me a little bit about you've gone from basically investor, liquidity provider, then to token creator. So tell me a little bit about your journey into creating tokens and how it's actually led you into the Mike ecosystem.
Token creation, team.finance was really what I saw, because I don't remember what token it was, but I saw someone made it on Team Finance. So I went to Team Finance, I started playing around, making tokens, providing liquidity, just basically what Sunny did with A1A, but I just learned with shit coins basically. And just was like, well, if I buy a token and I put up $10 liquidity and I throw $5 clips in it, what does that do to the price? What does that do to the pool? And I just realized like you could sell. So back to V3 is like you can sell with V2 as well. It's just you have to catch that early. Like if you buy a coin and immediately you put up liquidity with Pulse and the coin goes up, you're gonna have a whole bunch of Pulse in there that you didn't have, and you're gonna have less token. But then when the token dumps, they're gonna steal all your Pulse out and then give you the shit coin. So that's where you get a lot of these pump and dumps where they just pull liquidity. That's why burnt liquidity is such a big factor on Pulse chain. Well, in crypto in general. But I want to say the first token I ever created was Courage the Cowardly Dog, and don't look into that at all. It was a funny meme on the Grand token, and it was like a granny token, and Courage the Cowardly Dog is a show with the grandma and the dog. Anyways, so I learned from that, right? I learned from that. So I created it on Team Finance, and then I had like a little staking pool and whatnot, and it went to shit ultimately, just because it was just me and like one other person playing around with it, and just because I just wanted to see how did liquidity work? Like what happens if you do make your own token and you have all the power? Fast forward, right? I made HSA. HSA was during the HOA pop and hype and everything like that. I bought HOA at 0.001 and I caught a 40x, 50x, something like that. So when I saw how popping their ecosystem was, I actually made HSA, which was Hedron S'mores address, which is just like hex orange address, because you have a Hedron source address, which is Alex's dev wallet basically. And I'm just a Hedron fan. I caught Hedron. My first X's really was Hedron. I caught a 30x on Hedron in the bear market. Cool. Yeah. I was like, whoa. I woke up at 6 a.m. I checked the chart and I was like, what? I was like, what's going on? I didn't even sell, bro. I was like, I'll go back to sleep because that can't be real. I woke up and it was down like 30%. And I was like, I'll just wait. It might pump again. And then I just got wrecked. So I took a little bit of profit, but not enough to be cool or whatever. So I made HSA, right? Because that was kind of like my origin X story. And ultimately, I airdropped 50% to the HOA. That's ended horribly. We have a bad rep now. I ain't even gonna speak on it, but it's just a bad rep. They just kind of got to be a toxic community a little bit. And now they hold 50% of the supply. So it's not that it's a dead token. It's just that it's held hostage a little bit. Which I don't mind, because I created it, the campfire, right? The campfire is the Telegram to it. And ultimately the campfire is not just a single token. It's, hey, if you have a good token or a play, shoot it in here. Well, it's got the comfy scanner. So as soon as you drop a token in there, we see what it is, supply, all that good stuff. People deep dive. So we're a non-biased community. We actually look into what's going on chain. And nice. Dude, we caught Desktop and caught that really early, like before its run up, like before the big green candle, we caught that. We called Mike in there like as soon as we launched. So anybody that actually bought into Mike from the campfire chat did really well. And there's a couple other calls in there that we've done, but I mean, essentially HSA just stands for the campfire, right? It's just a group of people that listen to my voice chats all day, because that's what I'm known for, is just doing 5-minute voice chats, because I hate texting. And a lot of times I'm at work, or I was at work, so I just couldn't sit there and type all day. And it's easier for me to vocalize, which is understandable. But yeah, so went from HSA, campfire, and really the HOA thing kind of was recent. So once that happened, I just, had the mic idea. It was before Ink pumped. Ink was like $3, I want to say. And I was just like Monsters Inc., like Monsters Inc. It just made sense. So I was talking about that for weeks and weeks. And my little group chat that I'm in, they were like, oh yeah, whatever. And then ultimately one night, the Friday night that I launched it, it just clicked. So I hit up Sonny and I was like, hey, I need the Ink R code. I was like, I want it, but I want it 2%. And he was like, I can do that. And so he helped me. I was supposed to launch in like 2 hours. Telegram had like 6 people in it, bro. Supposed to launch. I was like, oh, we'll launch in 2 hours. I look, it's got 50 people in it. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm still trying to work. I'm on Remix, trying to figure it out and everything. And then I look, and again, it's like 150 people. I'm like, whoa, wow. What the hell? And it's like 12 o'clock at night. And Sonny's texted me, and he's just like, do this. All right, now you got to do that. And all right, you got to do this. And I'm shot out. I'm lost. I'm at my girlfriend's house, and I'm just sitting on the computer trying to figure. She's asleep. She fell asleep a long time ago, and I'm just zoned out on the laptop, trying to figure it out, dude. Trying to figure it out. And ultimately, I figured out at 4:30 in the morning. And so it took me 6 hours. Sonny literally, I think he fell asleep for a second and then woke back up, and he saw me. He was like, what are you doing right now? I was like, I don't know. I forgot how to launch it. So he just literally became my savior. And he was like, bro, you do this and you do that. And I was like, oh, okay. Launch. Boom. 4:30 in the morning. I launched it. I was like, all right, y'all boys, I'm going to sleep, man. And all I saw was a 28X. As soon as that first candle was a 28X. And we launched with 4K liquidity now. We took and it's kind of for the lore, but it literally worked out perfectly, which, numbers in our universe are not just there for no reason, right? So it was 414 ink paired with, with the 60 million, with the mic supply. So, so 414 literally equaled 2K. So we put up 4K, and that was the plan the whole time. So it was just funny that it equals to 414. So we launched it. Yeah, we launched it, and then immediately I put in the pulse pool with like 200K pulse, not even a lot of pulse, just to create an ARB there, so people could get their rewards. And ultimately, bro, it did a 675X in 48 hours on the weekend with 4K liquidity, no diss, no $6 liquidity, right? This is 4K liquidity. So people actually threw in thousands of dollars in clips. Like, it's baffling to me, because for me, I was just high all night trying to dev up some shit, and it actually worked. And the ink rewards that flooded into the dev wallet was just crazy. So all I started doing was just adding liquidity. Like the dev wallet, if you look at it, I mean, it's only added liquidity. It's never sold a token. It's never, done anything malicious. I pride myself on something like that. So I was tired of getting rugged on post-chain, because the meme coin space and post-chain is absolutely garbage, because everyone wants to hold their pulse, which I understand, right? But everyone wants to hold their pulse. Everyone wants to hold their hex. They don't want to get rid of their RH tokens. I get it. But ultimately, he made a layer 1 so that we can gamble on his chain for cheap. So I was just tired of getting rugged or getting pumping, not even just all the way rugs. Like, they'll burn liquidity, but they'll just pump it and it won't do anything. No one will really make any money. So it's just, except for the dev. So decided to do my own thing and make Mike. Mike was 2% rewards on Ink. So whether you buy or you sell, all the holders get paid. So versus a regular meme coin, and it's a good meme. Like, it's hilarious, right? There's so many, and I realized this by looking up all the gifts for Mike Wazowski, and it's kind of funny, bro. There's so many goofy memes, and so it's a meme coin, but essentially, if you hold this meme coin, you actually get paid. It's versus another meme coin. Like, I love Teddy. I hold a big bag of Teddy, so no FUD. But like versus a Teddy, right? We're just like, you just hold it and it does nothing for you. You're just really hoping price goes up. versus a token like Mike, where it's you can hold it and yeah, whether the price goes down, right? We did a retrace of, I want to say 80%, 77%, which is regular in crypto, especially after a 48-hour 675x, right? That's huge. So I really wasn't surprised by the crash at all. Like I saw the dev wallet Liquid hold 300K. So, and I didn't even burn liquidity yet. So the morning that I woke up after like a fucking 8-hour slump, because I actually, no, I didn't even sleep. I slept for like 3 hours, dude. And I woke up and I was like, what is going on with the chart? Just face melting. And then by Sunday, right, I'm at my girlfriend's house still. By Sunday, I'm just looking at the chart like, what? And so the dev wallet saw close to $500,000 in total with liquidity and everything. So as soon as I saw that, I burnt the liquidity, right? I kept a little bit liquid on the side just for transparency, right? I kept a little bit liquid like from the burnt supply. So say I burnt like 80% and kept 20% on the side for me to be able to play with, because essentially I could pull that liquidity and just throw a fucking clip into Mike if I wanted to, right? That's what Richard does. So, so yeah, so as a 23-year-old, when you see $500,000 in a weekend, what would you have done? You know what I mean? What would half of the users would have done? They would have sold. They would have completely deleted their account. Come on. I would have had like probably like 100K of ink and I could retire. But for me, I saw the longevity of being a trusted face in the ecosystem, being somebody who could actually produce things versus just extract things. And it just seemed more benevolent and more wise of me to just burn the liquidity and just let's see how this thing goes. And ultimately it crashed, right? But it's cool. Because you have 700 plus users in the Telegram, which I want to say in a week we got 700 plus users, which is mind-boggling because you look at other chats and they only have like 1,500 and they've been at it for the entire Pulse chain coming out. So, it's really quick. We almost have 1,000 holders, so close to 1,000 holders. And like I say, in what has been out for 9 days, 1,000 holders for 9. And no, I did not send one mic to a whole bunch of wallets at all. I thought about doing that, and I was like, this thing is growing so naturally. I don't even think I have to. And it's doing pretty well as far as ink rewards. The dev wallet, made close to 20 grand in ink at the top. And the only thing the dev wallet did with that was add liquidity to no nukes, add liquidity to Hex LP, add liquidity to just more ink LP. That was, it was the big thing of me like trying to compound the ink LP. We have what does that say? 114K ink LP. Like that's pretty bullish. That's what other meme coin? First of all, this is the OG incentive. Well, Ink R, right, for Sunny is the OG incentive token. But as a meme coin, right, specifically a meme coin, it's the first meme coin to pair with Ink on Pulse Chain. And then so the bullish thing was, the reason it did its X's is because, and whether this was Richard on purpose or whatever, I'm not gonna say anything about that. But he tweeted, he said, Ink is my meme coin, right? And then the next tweet, he said, I really like GoPulse. You go on GoPulse at that same second, Mike had this huge bubble, right? It was like 800% up. And we were like, what the hell? Like, no way. He just like low-key shilled Mike. And like, bro, it's Richard. He pays attention to his chain, right? So it's like, he literally, in my head, I was like, he literally soft shilled Mike. He literally soft shilled Mike. So we were in the chat like going crazy, bro. So then it started to run up hard, and it was a euphoric time. I could say that it was a euphoric weekend. And then also GoPulse I don't think he necessarily likes me that much. So like the dev for it, because he would never list HSA. He would never list HSA. I tried so hard, and he was just like, I don't think it's a good project. I don't think it's like a project that's worthy of being listed on the bubbles. So to see him actually like take Mike and put it on there, because he had to, right? It was doing so many X's. There's no way you could just ignore it. So he put it on there. And then as soon as he put it on there, you saw Richard tweet and everything. So it was just kind of like this snowball effect that ultimately it was just a once in a lifetime thing, right? It's like, wow, my meme coin literally did Pulse chain history, right? 675x in 48 hours. Nothing has ever ran that hard with that much liquidity on Pulse chain. So it's a good thing to be young and create something like that. And I don't know if Richard did it on purpose or not, but it's cool.
Well, whether he did or not, I can't. I couldn't comment on that because it would
Yeah,
just be
no.
speculation. But what I do believe is you have learned the right way. You've started with you've taken all the steps to get to where you are. You didn't just create this token with the intention of, okay, how can I make $1 million? You've learned the steps. You've learned from some of the smartest people in the space, like Sunny, some of the most caring and giving people in the space. You've I mean, you're up to ridiculous hours, which I love. I love that, man. I'm with you. I'm with you all the way there, bro. Like, work hard while you're young, and
Yeah.
you've gradually progressed up. You've gone from buying crypto and investing to providing liquidity to creating tokens, creating a few different tokens, and now this is kind of like your masterpiece. And you also launched it at a very at a
Perfect
perfect
time.
time, man. Like
Literally the
things just pumped mega. It pumped
yeah.
mega. So,
When the
but those
$10,
things,
it's like, wow.
bro, those things are not coincidences. It's because you have done that work, that you've put yourself into that situation. You make your own luck. The universe rewards people who
Yep.
work hard. You don't just get a free lunch in the universe. You do the work, you reap what you sow. So I think I'm really happy to see what happened with Mark. I saw it popping off on Twitter. Another one that I'm just like, I can't buy more things, and I just seen it go up. I was like, God damn it! How come I
Yep.
missed this one? I don't think I
I have I
realized it
have
was you.
I have unlimited DMs. I know I have unlimited DMs saying that. Like, bro, why didn't you tell me, bro? Why didn't you tell? I was like, dude, it was 4:30 in the morning. I pressed play and I just went to sleep, dude. I'm sorry. Like, I didn't know that. I had no idea something like this would pop off. In my head, it seemed like a good idea, but everything else that comes out meme coin wise doesn't really do anything because, like I say, post chain users want to hold on to their posts, but like ultimately any meme coin on post chain that's a solid meme coin, Mike, Teddy, uh, just all the sorts, bro. They're gonna do X's. They're gonna do harder X's than Post will. Because if Post goes up, Hart's law will literally tell you, hey, all these things are gonna go up. When Richard said, I'm gonna make thousands of millionaires, he wasn't talking about holding Post chain. He was talking about, hey, if you create a project on Post chain and just bond to us, you're gonna go up. You're gonna be a millionaire, right? Whether that millionaire is liquid, like where you could cash out $1 million and go crazy, that's up to your liquidity pool. But I mean, we have 100K lick in Mike right now, so and that's just Mike. Like we got, there's liquidity plays and a whole bunch of other pools as well, which I'll talk about. But
Mm.
what if Ink does a 10x, or when Ink does a 10x, right? What if Ink goes to $1,000 a token, right? Like what if Ink goes to $500, $100? I mean, these things. I mean, if you do the math, I mean, it's mind boggling. And we're not even in the pulse run right now. We did a 700x, and we're not even in the pulse run, right? So it's like, where do we go from here? And that's the big speculation.
And things like this, just like we were talking about in the backstage before I launched this, I was talking about my friend who basically has gone to Solana with like a $30 clip, and he's gone to all the newly released tokens, and he's just put $1 on all these tokens, and he's getting 20x's, 30x's. People chase those things. This is one of the most key understated facts about Pulse Chain is that, and this is not to bag out the maxis. This is not to bag out anyone who only holds the core tokens. I have respect for you. I think you guys are a key part of the ecosystem. But what I don't like is people who push their perspective on everybody else and say, no, you should only buy the core tokens. This is a blockchain, man. People are not coming just to buy your bags of Pulse Chain off you. They're not coming for that. People are coming to make their own 100x's, their own 1000x's. They want that dream. They want to look for meme coins. We need things like this to gravitate people to our chain. We need tokens like this with a healthy looking chart. So this is exactly what I would look for. Beautiful. Had a strong push up. Now it's had an 85% dip. Looks like it's creating a bit of a floor. You didn't just extract that liquidity out of the ecosystem. You started pairing it up with other tokens. So you've started bonding it. So you've thickened this bottom floor, just like what the Atropa ecosystem is doing. So you're creating these forever floors. These are things that people really need to keep in mind when you have people who've been learning and practicing. And I'm not saying that this is exactly like Atropa, but those ideas behind it are being instilled into projects like this. So with that in mind, before we get on to the future plans of Mike, we got somebody here asking, how does Mike see price growing as Ink token reaches $20 in the future? So how is the price of Ink affecting the price of Mike, in your opinion?
First of all, the rewards that people earn are like way higher than. So if you earn one ink every week, say like on a small amount, what is it? What ink is right now? $8, right? So you basically double plus some on your rewards. So your dollar amount of your rewards actually exceeds what it was. So everything, especially if ink is cheap and you're earning ink, right, off arbitrage bots, right? If you're earning, then eventually that ink is worth more than you actually earned. Your, like right now I have somebody that earned 200 ink, right, off their reward so far. I know, I was like, whoa, you snapped. I was like 200 ink. So ink goes to $1,000. They made 200 grand off just the rewards. They don't never have to sell that actual bag. Their initial was 2 grand. So I was like, you already made your initials back at $10 ink. Now what? You know what I mean? Hold your bag, you know? So it's so with meme coins, you can hold it and hope that price goes up. With reward tokens, you can hold it and still get paid while price goes up. You don't actually have to hope that the price goes up. So in a Pulse chain, it's a new narrative of, it's old meta is what a lot of people want to say, but it's really not, because Pulse chain, everything is new meta. Everything that could have been done on ETH can now be done on Pulse chain. So like you see with Sunny's ecosystem, is you have this huge reward ecosystem that can work because Pulse gas is cheap, and it can work because the ARB bots will trade them all because they'll profit from it. On ETH, you could never make something like this. You could have early days, and you could have made really good money early days, and then now, like, if you had those same, so this is what I'm really bullish about. Like, if you got a reward token from day one ETH, right, and it earns you ETH or something like that, right, earns you ETH, and you held it 8 years, the price is way higher, right, way higher, just based off Hart's law. And then the rewards that you have earned, say it was an ETH, right, are crazy high. So we're restarting ETH. We're at Pulse chains, like the beginning. We're still cheap Pulse chain. Like, even Atropa dev said himself, like, I really hope that Pulse chain's gas stays cheap so that his ecosystem can arb. Same thing with Sunny. Like, their ecosystem can arb a lot harder. Like, if we get to where gas is $50 to swap on Pulse chain, right? The arb on it is a lot harder. Like, these bots have to make at least $50 plus the 1% or the 2% on the rewards. So that's the bullishness on reward tokens for Pulse chain. It's definitely a narrative that can stick for this cycle. It's here, bro. It's here.
And then Pulse chain has a certain heaviness to it due to how thick it is already. So what would you rather? Just this massive thick thing, just this one massive thick thing continuing to go up, and then everything gets expensive to trade? Or would you rather like hundreds, thousands of different tokens where you can get 100x's, 1000x's, 10,000x's? I'd rather the latter. I'd rather that the gas stays cheap. I want people to get their big gains on it. But even like the value of the tokens is like the Pulse chain tokens. It's all very, man. It's like some of the best inventions are not some groundbreaking brand new decision. They're just improvements on what existed. Google is the GOAT of search engines because it took what was Yahoo and whatever else was around, Ask Jeeves at the time, and it made it better. It made it more efficient, better, everything better.
I don't even know what that is. I've heard about it, but I don't even know what that is. That's how young I am.
Man, this is when I was on bloody dial-up, so I'm old. So,
AOL, I don't even know.
Is like an improvement. It's like the Google of Ethereum. It's taken all the problems on Ethereum because, bro, like Richard Hart's tweet the other day, he just pointed out the facts. He didn't tell everyone, hey, go dump your eHex. And on that, I just want to make a comment on that as well, because I was thinking about this. He didn't tell anyone to dump their eHex. And it's like, well, why would he make that comment? Maybe he actually wanted people to move their liquidity over to Pulse chain, but instead people started selling the crap out of it.
That was the whole goal. Literally, he forked Ethereum to bring the people that were loyal to him, come over to my playground. Stop playing in Vitalik's playground. It's expensive. And no one, but the thing is, like sharks, it doesn't matter. Like whales, it doesn't matter. You can stake your eHex. But why? Why would you want to? And also, I will say a thing to that is Alex is working really hard to try to make it to where we can't. And then even the 414 is bullish on eHex. So it's like, Please
Yeah,
sell your bags. It's half a penny right now. Like that's bullish. Like
I know.
I'm not, like I don't really care for Hex anymore. It's a shit coin to me. Sorry if you feel offended, but Sonny will say the same. It's a shit coin. I mean, it's just essentially I'll catch more X's on a whole bunch of other things in the ecosystem right now versus Hex because there's already so much money in Hex. That's another thing too is like the sacrifice projects, right? Like Liquid Loans, Power City, Mintra, blah 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 blah. They took in what $50 million, $10 million, all this money, and there's so much heavy weight in these tokens already. If we rip 10x on a Liquid Loans token, guess who's going to sell it? The sacrificers, right? If you rip 10x on a meme coin that was bought up by people who never had it before, you can still go up because they only made a 10x, you know, versus I put in 100K and my 10x is $1 million now. That's it's fucked, bro. Like you can't. These sacrifice projects are just they're not going to survive. They'll catch Hart's Law and they'll pump, but they're not going to do the gains that a fresh meme coin will do. Like people can be mad at Mike because it did a 700x, but because their Liquid Loans token didn't do it or their whatever token didn't do it. But it's just how the market's going to go. If you have a weight in a token already, it's not going to work.
100%, man. And I just like, again, it's the opportunity. It's the people that are going to come to the chain. They're not going to come for the boring tokens. They're going to come for the exciting dopamine hit. What's going to give me the 1000x like quickly? What's going to give it to me in a day? What's going to give it to me in half a day? That's what people chase. That's what the retailers are coming for. They're not coming. Unfortunately, I do believe Somi is correct, and I'm not fighting Hex because I have a lot of Hex and I have a lot of respect for Richard Hart. I think I always love Hex, and I think Hex still has a promising future. Actually, I honestly believe Hex has a promising future, especially now that I'm seeing Maria buying the absolute crap out of it. It's like, wow, this amazing opportunity just presented itself because all the weak hands dumped. Maria's buying the crap out of it. Maria can start bonding it to all these tokens in the Atropa ecosystem, and it can start dragging Hex up with it. Not only that, it can actually, through the ARB bot, start chewing through that sell wall without anyone even buying a single token on the Ethereum side. The ARB bots can do all the work. This is the beauty that I'm seeing that could potentially happen. So, man, it's the best. It's the best chain, but people don't really see that yet. It's like it's so obvious to me, but unfortunately. Well, fortunately for us, we see that, but people in the future slowly going to catch on to it. So,
well, people have to have a trust for Richard, right? It's like the OA wallet, like it's Richard, but right, but it's if I'm an outside person and I've been in crypto and I've been on AVAX and I've been on like yes, there's VCs, right, but they're not known VCs. They're just kind of hidden whales on the side that hold it back. With Richard, it's like, hey, I own 90%. Come play at my playground. I'm going to make you rich. People have heard that before, right? But it's hard to trust. It's hard to trust. So it's DeFi, but you're still relying on a single entity. And that entity is benevolent nonetheless, but it's still a level of trust that you have to have for Richard, basically. Which I have complete trust. I think that the dude is beyond wealthy already, and he just wants to see people win, but he wants to see the correct people win. So it's the people who delay the gratification that can work out, that can, you know what I mean? Like everything is delayed gratification, like you said, working out, eating better, just working on a craft, blah, 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 blah. So if you can delay gratification in your real life, or if you can do it in crypto, you can do it in your real life. So he's trying to get people to delay that gratification, blah, 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 52 weeks to shake out the losers or whatever. And then see if you make money. But it's still like, even if you wait 52 weeks, what if you sell on a 10x? You didn't win. You didn't win the game.
100%. And it has to be, it's the concept of DeFi and trustlessness. I think it's like the two extremes, right? It's like capitalism versus communism. One is not correct over the other. Somewhere in the middle is the correct answer. And I think it's the same with decentralization and centralization and trustlessness and trust. And I trust Richard Hart. I see the sincerity of his character and of his nature, and that's what I gravitate to. I resonate with that. That's why I trust this ecosystem. But people don't see that. They've only seen the little clips of him showing off his money, and they still think he dumped all the money of sacrifice to buy the Gucci. It's like, bro, do you realize this guy's like, he's got like hundreds of millions of dollars, probably billions of dollars, like before.
Bro, I think it's hundreds of billions of dollars, dude. I think at a certain point on Pulse, he's a trillionaire. I mean, he probably really close at this point.
I think so too, and
Ridiculous.
I wonder if at the height of Hex, he was. I'm like, I wonder if he was actually a trillionaire. I really have wondered that. So, but
Probably.
you know,
Probably.
he's not here for that. That's the thing. When you see those types of people who have enough money, and it's like, well, I'm not interested in the money anymore. I actually want to change the world. Those are the
Mhm.
people that I want to associate with. I don't want to associate with VCs who are trying to enrich their shareholders and enrich the people who provide them with capital. I don't want anything
Mhm.
to do with those people, and there isn't any of that on this chain. So that's why this is like the best chain. It's the people's chain. It's the freedom chain. So.
Yes, sir.
Um, just to answer somebody's question very quickly here. So somebody was asking here, Gabus, you were asking how does the ink get paid? So it gets paid out daily. It just auto goes into your wallet. So all these rewards
It's not
tokens.
daily. It's not
Oh,
daily.
it's
It's
not
every
that. It's
block.
just
It's every block that
every
there's every second. Like if there's a trade on the token, like if I buy $500 worth of ink, and there's 16 pools. I think Sunny said last time. I haven't actually went and counted them, but say there's 16 pools, right? At least. Um, as soon as you buy $500 into that ink pool, it's the heaviest pool, right? So you're going to use your ink to buy into that pool. The rest of the pairs all have a price, right? So all these prices have to equal out to the price of the main pair because there's an opportunity to make money, right? So these arbitrage bots run by, I believe it's Richard or like the devs, but also I'm sure there's numerous bots run on Postchain. And they have to go fix the price of all these pools. So say it's a penny in the ink pool, right? Where it's almost a penny in the ink pool, right? It's almost a penny. Let's see if we can get a penny on stream. But it's almost a penny, right? So if all the other pools, it's 0.0098, right? So there's a little bit of money to have been made on all the pools. So you can buy out of the cheap pool and go sell it into the expensive pool to fix the ratios, to fix the price of everything. So those bots do that as soon as they can get a profit. So as soon as they can, so the thing is with the 2% rewards on the ink, so an arbitrage bot has to buy, so they have to get a 2% tax, then they have to sell. So they have to buy before you buy, and then they have to sell after you. So there's a 2% tax that they pay when they buy into that. And then there is a 2% tax that they pay to sell afterwards. So essentially it's 4% every single time there's an ARB happening. So they have to make, say, 4.2%, right? Like 4.20%, 420. And so they have to make a profit, right, on these percentages of the pools. And yeah, that's basically how you get paid. So it's either somebody buys into the main pool and the rest of the pools have to fix, or somebody was talking about ink going to $20. If ink goes to $20, it's the same thing. So if it's a mic ink pool, if you switch it to where it's an ink mic pool, that ink price, say it's $10 and it goes to $20, that has to trade on all the pairs as well. Because you change the price of the mic token because the ink token has to change. So all the mic pools have to also change. So whether ink moves or mic moves, just the market in general, because if Pulse moves, ink moves, right? So if the market moves, everyone gets paid. And that's just, that's the same thing with every reward token as well that Sunny made, right? Because there's reward tokens on Pulse Chain that are not doing that. Like they do not have the arbitrage opportunities that, you have to have so you have to have a thick pool, a semi-thick pool, semi-thick pool, semi-thick pool. You can't have like a thick pool and then just like dollar pools. It won't work that way because you still have to account for slippage in the side pools. So every little side pool has to have enough liquidity in it for an R bot to trade it. Like you can't have
There has to be
$100
a
pools.
scale of different size pools, is what you're saying.
Yes. Because if you just have
Fibonacci.
cheap pools,
Fibonacci.
yeah, Fibonacci.
Go on.
So,
Sorry.
no, you're good. So if you just have if you have little pools, it just doesn't work the same. So when you see people launch reward tokens on Pulse Chain that are like, oh yeah, we got 20K liquidity with Pulse, but then you look at the other ones, there's like $1,000 pool, and then there's like $200 pools. It's like you'll never survive. And that's why Sunny's ecosystem is so bullish, because he's got 100K with A1A and Pulse, right? But then you look at all the other pools, he's got 5K, 10, 20K with all these other tokens. And then in the reward ecosystem, right, he's got like 50K lick on all of these pairs because it's poof money. It's fake money that he created, but because he plugged it into something real, A1A to Pulse, right? And then he has got A1A to all the PRC20s. So it's giving them life based on Pulse moving. And there's a difference between what he's created versus others. So, and that's why I'm really bullish on him.
I agree. Yeah, I think Sonny is on another level. I think,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his stream yesterday with Corey was just like, the way he explains things, and like
Yeah.
he just wants to share, and it's like I just see him like talking about the
Mm-hmm.
same thing over and over again, and I have so much respect for people like that, because it's not easy repeating yourself a million times to different kinds of people. And there's people that they don't really want to learn; they just want the quick answer, they want the instant gratification. Give me the answer. What's going to give me the most
Mm-hmm.
money? And I want that answer now so I can go do something and not really learn anything. So that kind of characteristic and that nature, I have a lot of respect for.
Oh
But
yeah.
the beauty of that whole ecosystem and the rewards, I mean, even looking at pDAI R, for example, man, I would have spent maybe like,
That's a sleeper.
let's just say about $100. And
Mm-hmm.
in just a few days, I've already made like over 100 pDAI. That's just
Yeah.
in a couple of days. So if I believe in the future narrative, I've just printed like over $100, $150. I'm
Mm-hmm.
printing like $50 a day at these prices, waiting for that $1 mark, $50 a day. There's going to be a point where people are going to realize the value of these rewards tokens is going to be it's going to pay much higher yield and dividends than actually directly buying the token. There's going to be this point where the reward token is going to be worth much more than the actual purchasing directly the token itself. And that's
Mm-hmm.
why I like to get in nice and early with all these things, because I do believe the market is actually going to catch on to those kinds of ideas. On that
Well,
point, I want to also just say, sorry, 1 second.
there you go.
I want to just say to anyone, for your purposes of tax, with all these tax calculators, because these
Tax.
yeah, it's an annoying subject, but you don't like, it's a massive headache. So
Yeah.
with the tax calculators, right, they will basically generate your tax. You plug in your wallet, they'll generate your tax based on the amount of transactions you've done. Every bit of token that comes into your account, you might be getting like 100 of these in your account in one day, like 100 little pieces of ink. So it's going to screw your tax calculations up with the auto tax calculator. So my recommendation is, with these reward tokens, create a separate wallet, put the reward tokens in there, and then keep it separate from your trading wallet, because otherwise
In
you're going
money
to get to
laundering.
tax time and you're screwed. So yeah, just a little golden tip there. So what were you going to say? Sorry, man.
We have Tornado Cash. I'm not worried about taxes. we got ZKX, right? Or ZKZX.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Dude,
Yeah.
we're literally at battles with the IRS. You think I'm gonna pay my taxes to them? I'm good. That's
Or you
garbage.
can
We're
go
in
to,
DeFi for
or
a
you can
reason.
do the Zach move. Go to
Yeah.
Thailand, get yourself a little Thai biddy.
I'm gone. Whoa! I have a girlfriend, bro. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, that's just
I'll
tax
go to
purposes.
Dubai. I'll go to Dubai, bro.
There you
I think
go. There
Dubai's the
you
move.
go.
But no, I was gonna say that the reward tokens, right? Is like they're gonna go up in price, and you're also gonna earn tokens. So it's like everything that you're earning this early in a cycle, in a layer one, cycle one, right, chain. Everything that you're earning now is gonna at least do what Pulse does. So say Pulse, like I said earlier, does 100x. All your rewards are going to do 100x. So if you're earning $1 a day and you're like, oh, this is garbage, well, wait a second. If you just delay your gratification and you wait, then guess what? You're earning $100, or you would have been earning $100 a day. So you still have to delay your gratification with the rewards token. And then if you compound your rewards into that actual token that's spitting them out, you're doing way greater numbers than that you would have thought. There is no calculator that you can put on something like this, because like I could say I'm making 10 ink a day off of Inkr or something, or a mic, and I could earn 20 ink a day for a week, and then price crashes. But when price crashes, I could stay still earning ink or earning whatever token that you're saying. And then the same thing is to say with like if your reward token is crashing in price. So PulseX right now. So this is a narrative too that people don't understand. Like PulseX was so cheap on purpose. On complete purpose, because there's a buy and burn on PulseX. So if that buy and burn can buy and burn as the market moves a cheaper PulseX value, it's actually taking more tokens and it's buying it for a cheaper price and it's burning it. So if we were at $1 PulseX, and the buy and burn is not going to take as much tokens, because it has to, you have to have a lot more volume to do so. So as the volume picks up, the price of PulseX picks up. It could literally burn the same amount of tokens. Like what are we, 3.65% burn? minus the OA wallet. So like if you keep PulseX cheap, right? Same thing with Hedron, right? If you keep Hedron cheap, then the HSIs or the HMIs, when people bid on the auctions with Hedron, it's cheap Hedron. So you're able to burn a lot more Hedron. So like that's kind of how I learned the PulseX buy and burn. Like because everyone was like, when PulseX pump, it's like, well, it's good that it's actually cheap because you're ripping the price or you're ripping the supply out like more tokens than less. So when PulseX rises in prices, you're actually not getting the supply that you want. So next bear market, my thesis is next bear market, the buy and burn on PulseX is going to be crazy because people are going to be dumping their PulseX, dumping their Pulse, their Hex, their meme coins, their whatever, all these things that we have. Billions and billions of dollars will flood through the PulseX buy and burn. And how much PulseX gets bought and burned on the way down, all the way down. And then when you have capitulation at the bottoms of next cycle, whatever that price is, you're going to see a crazy amount of PulseX burn. Same thing with BNB in the bear market. It only dropped 75%, I want to say. So I think PulseX is going to be the better. And I say this, and I don't actually know, but I hope it's the better hedge on the bear market. Like I'm gonna sell and get out, but if you were gonna hold something, I think holding PulseX is bullish, because maybe it doesn't crash 99.99%. Maybe it only crashes 90% or something, just based off the buy and burn, because it's a dumb whale that'll buy at whatever price is on the way down because of people capitulating.
Yep, and don't forget, if you've been learning about liquidity providing, when that bear market is starting to show signs, if you provide liquidity at the top of the market, you are going to absolutely clean the F up because you're going to get all the yield on the way down in that bear market. And then 3 years later, when it starts to come back up again, you've been just generating yield and cleaning up all the way down. You've actually also buffeted the bottom. It's like, yeah, this whole liquidity providing mindset and yield generating mindset is something that I'm becoming more and more in love with. I've started to like convert a lot of my tokens back into like Sunny's tokens, Mike, these kinds of things where I don't need to think about and watch the charts every single day. I'm actually kind of sick of it. I thought I liked it, but it's like I actually don't have the time for it. And it really takes away from the things that I should be doing. And I'm realizing that it's like, I got to run a meditation center here. I got people like that. I'm like, oh, don't come because I'm like, I'm degening on charts and I shouldn't be doing that, right? So it's like, okay, I've got to like chill out, get back on the yield. And I just love that idea. And I can put my trust in people who have that time, people who are sitting and watching the charts all day, and I can invest in their tokens and they're doing the work. And I'm just this little dum-dum that can basically accept all the rewards and just, yeah, it's an amazing time to be alive actually with Pulse Chain and just with everything in general. So
Sonny said it best, man, when he was saying like, I don't care about the charts. They mean nothing to me because ultimately when you're an LP, it's kind of like a stress-free situation where it's like, oh, please dump. Because if you dump, I'll just pull my liquidity and I have way more tokens. So, and the same thing, it's like if it pumps, yeah, I'll pull my liquidity and I've got money now. So it's like a win-win, whatever happens.
It's a big mindset shift, and it's that whole philosophy of Hex now, but extrapolated across a blockchain. And I think this is the opportunity that people are really, really missing. So, okay, now, Mike. So there's a lot of things going on with Mike. So you were starting to talk to me about the ecosystem that you're trying to build up. So why don't you explain your future plans with Mike? What kind of things you've got coming up? What have you got cooking in the background for Mike?
So essentially, I won't drop any tickers, right? Because we've had a lot of copycats. As soon as Mike had success, we had a Sully token come out, like 4 Sully tokens, and they all went 80% in the first like hour or like first day or whatever. Which is hilarious to watch. Because we bought them, right? Me and my group, we bought them and just to sell them down because we know like, bro, you guys are garbage. What are you doing? So essentially, what I'm gonna have probably 3 tokens in this ecosystem. Kind of how you have PulseX Inc., that little eco. So we'll have a Pulse reward token, a PulseX reward token, and then we have this Inc. reward token. And so basically, you create a PulseX reward token that pays out PulseX, and then you bond it. Like say it does a pump, right? Say it does a 10x, 20x, 100x, right? And then as soon as it does that, those X's, you bond it to Mike real thick. Like, so the meta is basically pairing your reward token to the token that pays out with thicker. And I've noticed that Sunny does this, so that's why I did this with Ink. But the difference with Ink though is Ink is a very voluminous token to
Oh,
where it's a power token, right? Because it's minted
yeah.
from the people that farm. So the only way you're gonna get it is if these farmers dump it into Pulse for more Pulse, which is cool because it's just thickening that LP. But as soon as you dump your Ink or whatever into the Pulse pool, it has to move the market, aka move Mike. So Mike pays a lot of rewards. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Pulse X and Pulse rewards. But we haven't even, so we saw a 20x on Mike, a 20x plus on Mike, or no, I'm sorry, on incentive token, right? But we haven't seen X's on Pulse or Pulse X yet. Like not X's to be proud of, not X's to be like, whoa, I just made a 10, 20x. Like it's not there yet. So we're gonna grab this market while it's young. And so that's the same thing we did with Ink, where we grabbed it where it's like $3, right? Or $4, something like that. We're gonna grab Pulse X when it's cheap. We're gonna grab Pulse when it's cheap. Pair our reward tokens to those things thicker, and then and when they run up, the liquidity actually runs up. So say like with Mike, we started with 4K lick, and it did crazy run up. So now we have 100K liquidity in there because people gave us their incentive tokens for the Mike. So it'll be the same thing. Like say we do the Pulse X reward token, people will give us their Pulse X. For whatever the ticker I choose, right? And it'll pay out Pulse X. So it's just, so if you take a token and you earn Pulse X in it, and the main pool is Pulse X, you could buy more of it with the reward that you're earning. So you can compound easier that way if you so choose. Or you could add liquidity with the bag that you already have and just do what we were just talking about, liquidity. So essentially, once we make the third token to this ecosystem, it's a wrap. It's all completed, and the whales can then trade between all three of them and create this constant circle of volume where it's 100K liquidity between all three of them, and we do a 10x. That means there's going to be $1 million liquidity or so, right, between all three of these tokens, and then the whales can kind of move in between them and play a ratio game, just like they do with Pulse X, and Ink. There's people trade the Ink Pulse ratio chart. They don't really trade the Ink dollar chart if you're smart, because you're trying to gain more Pulse. Ultimately, you're trying to gain the more gas token. You want to beat the gas token. That's the whole point. And Mike on the move, yes sir. $1 million market cap. Let's go.
We hit the million market cap, the 1 cent
yes,
as
sir.
well.
Yes sir. So that I did that as well, like where there's 100 million tokens in supply. And so if we go to a penny, it's it just makes it easier for math. So anyways, so once you have all those three tokens, they're all RH paid out tokens. So I think that's the most bullish thing you can do with the reward token, is pay out in RH tokens, especially in this ecosystem where everyone's kind of just RH maxi, or like, I want more Pulse, I want more Ink, I want more Pulse X. Cool. But you also want to degen into meme coins. So we understand that, right? So we're going to create a token that's memeable, right? It's funny. You can still go to GIFs on Twitter, on X, and post it, and it's funny. But then that, hey, I'm holding this token, but I'm still earning RH tokens on the side. So it's bullish. But yeah, so essentially you just have these three tokens, and the whales can ratio trade between all of them. The dev wallet, myself, can ratio trade between all of them. And I'll be transparent about that. I'll definitely ratio trade the tokens into all of them, because ultimately what that does for the holders of the tokens is that it produces more rewards, but also staying inside the ecosystem, so that money is not being necessarily extracted. It's just being moved. Same thing, like if Richard wanted to right now, he could press one button and send Pulse X to a higher ratio than Pulse, right? If he so wanted to. So I also, but that's what I want the power to do. So it's not necessarily that I'll do dramatic button clicks, but it's if I take 10K a mic and I put it into the next ticker, and it creates the rewards without hurting the price so crazy. I learned that with HSA, right? Is that I paired it real thick to a token called Hex X. And I traded HSA into Hex X because it was so thick, and it didn't hurt the price of HSA at all, which was like, whoa, wait, what is this? What is this magic I'm looking at? So now that I know that, I can take the mic and I can flood it into the next pair, as long as it's a thick pair, and I won't necessarily hurt the users or the price of the mic token. And I'll create this constant this arbitrage, this incentive to that's given to the holders. And yeah, so it'll just be Pulse, PulseX, and Ink as the rewards. And if you hold all three, I'll probably do a little airdrop to the mic holders because I mean they're strong. They're in the chat all day. I mean it's fun. It's fun to see. Also, you have a surge of Ink posts, right? So on Twitter, I see all Ink posts now. So it's so easy to just go in there and click a button and then just be like, oh, GIF of Mike Wazowski, like just doing dumb shit or whatever, right? So it's funny. It's like you have an Ink, you have all the Ink maxis, and it's so easy to meme it because no one else is going under the post saying anything, right? But we can just send Mike Wazowski in there, and it's just funny to see like the community like attack all the posts in like a healthy friendship way, not like in a buy our coin or else. It's like, no, buy Ink, keep buying Ink, please buy Ink because it helps us only. So it's fun.
That's the beauty.
That's the
Yeah,
beauty,
that's
right?
the beauty. You're not really competing against them, and really, again, if people want to do the trading, they can either trade those tokens or they can actually trade the reward token, so they don't need to sell down the actual reward token itself. They can trade the actual like the mic token. There's so many different opportunities, and again, I love that you've actually taken your learnings from HSA and then you're applying those learnings here. Okay, I can shift liquidity here. I can pull the levers up and down. I can create this artificial volume. Then the R bots can come in there and eat away at it and create even more volume. And then it's creating more rewards for the holders. Like these little tricks and these little things that you've learned along the way that you can start applying to this ecosystem is going to be very good for the holders. It's going to be very good for Pulse Chain in general. So
It's fun. It's fun because I see Richard and how he can play God. He can kind of pull the strings. So I was like, well, essentially, like he's playing God in his playground of a layer one. Like we can play God in these little ecosystems that we have in our meme coins. So I've saw how Atropa, I saw how Sunny, they all created poof money. I'm like, well, wait a second, I can create poof money too. So create poof money as long as people want that poof money, then the dev wallet can do benevolent things. And then you see a lot of post chain, like they'll create poof money and they'll kill people. They'll wreck everybody because they don't care. They're not looking for longevity. My face is out here. My face is good in the community. I've been to multiple meetups. I've been to PulseCon. I've met these people in real life. I plan to go to bull market meetups with these people. I want to have, it's just like with Richard. It's like he has an ego, right? You don't really bet against the ego because he wants people to see him as great. It's like the same thing with me. Like I want to be able to go to a meetup in the bull run and be like, hey, I did this meme coin ecosystem that did this many X's, and I was able to like basically retire off the rewards instead of selling the token down in the bear market. Like I want the users in the bull market. I want the users in the bull market to sell the coin. Have fun, take your X's and go. You know what I mean? Like I don't plan on selling. The dev wallet didn't plan on selling because the amount of rewards that when you guys sell that I'll earn off my bag, and then I can just wait till the bear market bleeds out and then ride the token up again. And then hopefully cycle two not hopefully, it will last till cycle two because I'll still be here. I'll still be pushing. You know what I mean? I'm not going anywhere. I find this ecosystem, especially being in it early, is a benefit, right? It's not, we're here. We're all a community. It's a tight knit place. So it's fun being around you guys. I enjoy it.
Yeah, and this is really just the beginning as well. I mean,
So early.
oh man, like what, Ethereum's been around for what,
8
double figure
years.
years now? So 8 years, almost double figures. So we're really extremely early. And it sounds like you have that long-term mindset. You want to be here for a long time. You want to have a good impression. You're not here to rug the community. People know all about you. You've engaged with the community, so you're developing that trust. And yeah, you might end up creating more things that are going to feed into this. You might continue to learn with what's happening on the Pulse Chain ecosystem with Atropa, and you can start to continue to apply those things here. And again, the more people that actually come to this ecosystem and see, it doesn't need to be PvP. It doesn't need to be PvP. We can just sit on these things and just chill out. I mean, there's all these, A1A, for example, the Pulse Pup. There's another one, Solar.
Shout out to Post Pup.
Oh, Pulse Pup, man. Steady
That's
Pup.
a
That was a
G.
great stream, by the way. If you guys want to listen to a great stream, well, I did a stream with Sunny as well. That was brilliant. And a stream with Steady Pup. That was brilliant. These guys are very, very intelligent people, and they're creating like ETFs of Pulse Chain tokens. I mean, go look at the Pulse Pup chart. It's unbelievable. I don't actually need to like I don't need to sit in front of a chart all day. I can just buy these tokens, and they're the ones that are doing all the trading all day. It's like it is literally like an ETF. It is a cryptocurrency version of an ETF, and I haven't seen it anywhere except on Pulse Chain. We're really innovating the DeFi scene. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable, man. Like people really, it's a different game, but it's a much better game where you can sleep at night and I can just chill out on this and I can go live my life and just get those rewards. And whenever I need that little bit of extra cash, just sell away some of those rewards. There's so many of these ecosystems around in Pulse Chain. It's unbelievable.
It's also if you guys want to learn, right? This is also another way that I learned, and I didn't really think about that. But when I was learning A1A and Sunny, right, I was like, okay, why if he did A1A B2B, why can't I do it? So I did a hydro and an oxy token, right? Hydrogen and oxygen, liquidity, water, whatever, right? Did the same thing, did the 70%, paired them together, and then I took the hydro and I paired it to everything. And I took the oxy and I paired it to a couple things, right? If you want to pull the chart up, I'm not trying to show this at all. Please do not buy this. This is a complete like experimental. No one actually holds this token. So it's HYDRO.
All right, so
HYDRO, yeah, with Pulse. Its main pair is with A1A. So there you go. You can click the A1A pair right there. So it literally, that's Pulse.
And then Oxy.
It doesn't matter. Just click Hydro. They're the same chart.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you go to Hydro, yeah, it literally made, and no, like, mind you, nobody bought this, right? I bought it up in the very beginning and nobody bought it afterwards. And look where the chart's at. Pull it. Yeah. Pull it on like the daily. Oh. Yeah, look at that chart. Now, nobody buy this. This is not something you should buy at all. Please do not buy this. But I'm saying that it literally did those things, those green candles, based off the market moving up, because it's paired to so many things in the market. Pulse, A1A, and A1A is paired with everything, right? So it's like, yeah, look at all, those are all arbitrage bots buying the price up, selling the price up.
Not a single human buyer.
Nope, because I never told anybody about it. You know, I told people, but I told them not to buy. So me and my buddy, the same buddy from Vegas from the meetup, we made this because we were like, let's learn, right? So we bought it up. That's the big green candle. And then I sold it, right? Just to see what would happen. And then I saw it green up off of a tick on Pulse. This is when Pulse was 4 zeros and a 3.5 or something like that when I made it. And it literally did all-time high, crazy, with nobody buying it. So when Richard taught everybody to say like, hey, if you guys just don't sell, if we can just go up with the market, he was being serious. Like it's real. Like that's why Pulse Pup can go up, because no one, even if no one buys it, because he has all his pools. He learned the same thing that I did, except I made Hydro, he made Pulse Pup. But like I said, please do not buy this. This is not, you're not going to make, no. But yeah, it's just a learning experience for me to see like, whoa, this thing could rip crazy if just no one sold it. Basically, Hart's Law works if nobody sells. It works perfectly if nobody sells.
Yeah. And then of course, so just in this, for example, so what you actually pair it to is how this is going to move in accordance to Pulse Chain. So obviously there's like a bit of a level here, but this is a learning experiment for you. Whereas if you go and look at PLS Pup, I'm just going to bring this up as well, just to show people what I see with PLS Pup. So because I mean, massive kudos to Steady Pup. So Steady Pup, like that stream was so good. The way he explains things, man, like when you can get somebody who can explain concept things in a very simple way, they're very smart. They're very intelligent people. And those are the people that I want to be aligned with. So Steady Pup, shout out to Steady Pup. Love him. Really nice character, really nice vibe. So this is on the USD. That's the USD value. But now look at the WPLS value. So even the WPLS, bro, since this stream, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to wait for a pullback. And it's done like...
You can't do that. You can't do that, Steven, bro. You just got to buy, bro.
But you know what? Every time, this is what I did with the Atropa. I'm like, no, I'm not buying. I'm waiting for a pullback. And I'm like, that's it. I got to get into it. And when I finally decided, guess where it was? That top, baby. I'm a top buyer. So I'm like, no, I'm going to wait for that goddamn pullback if it's the last thing I do. But it's not coming. So these are the kinds of minds that we have in Pulse Chain. This is what I want to emphasize. People who understand how the game works and are creating these things that are benefiting everybody else. Don't need to do anything. Buy this token, sit on the rewards. They're doing all the work. So Steady Pup is constantly looking at how he can adjust. He's like a manager, an investment manager. The way that he can manage the investment fund and what tokens can I pair it with? What's going to make it grow better? What's going to benefit the holders more? It's like this is all on Pulse Chain, man. So
yeah. And there's a lot of charts like that. There's like the Headhunter ecosystem. They have the HSS token. They literally, they have a chart that goes fucking crazy just to wake up, right? Because there's not technically a lot of buyers, but there's just no sellers because there's a way that you could stake this token, right? This is a little soft shell, but I'm a big holder in HSS because they understand liquidity as well. King Daniel, he gets it. Like,
I was going to say, I want to shout this out just because King Daniel is. If you guys don't follow King Daniel on Twitter, go follow King Daniel on Twitter. Positive content into his fitness, into his mindset. King Daniel, he was momentarily Queen Daniel. now he's become a king again. So shout out to King Daniel if you ever listen to this. So these are the kinds of charts that we're seeing on Pulse Chain, man. And it's long-term sustainable. Again, it's not your Solana charts. Your Solana charts, okay, yeah, wow, woo, and then what? Who made all the money? VCs. How much did you make? Maybe 1 or 2% of the people making all the gains up there, all those big, fat, greedy VCs who are pumping up their own bags. And what did everybody else make?
That was the FOMO sell.
Exactly. Whereas these kinds of charts, these kinds of minds are creating these types of charts where everybody can eat, everybody can benefit from it. So honestly, man, Pulse Chain, Goat Chain, it's gonna get the recognition that it deserves in the future. So many people are just looking at all the wrong things and not looking at all these things. It's gonna get what it deserves in the future for sure.
Yeah, and that's what Richard said when he said, "I'm going to make thousands of millionaires." People are like, "Yeah, whatever." This is how. Look at HSS. This is a man that created a token, but it's staking protocol and put some NFTs in there, whatever. Put your little regular DeFi thing in there. And I mean, look, the token's up crazy, right? It's like, I think I put in $1,000. It's probably at like what, 20 grand, 19 grand, something like that. It's like, wow, that's crazy. And it's literally just off Hart's Law. So if we go to a couple dollars of this token, I just became wealthy off of Hart's Law. It's something that he figured out. Now he pursued it on his own chain. That's why he wants people on his chain, because he knows that if he holds 90% of the token of Pulse, he can make it to where it doesn't get sold down to infinitely death. And then have this Hart's Law where we can all go up together. So that's why I'm creating meme coins. With Pulse Chain is boring as hell because there's not a lot of meme coins that don't just rug. So trying to actually create these meme coins to put on there that pay users, follow Hart's Law, pay in RH coins, not just extraction, right? It's not just extraction. It's there, bro. It's a happy 100%. Time, man.
We've just had probably a 30% pump since we've been talking.
And I didn't even buy a little bit. I was going to throw $1,000 chunk in as soon as we started just for a little hype, but I didn't even have to do that, bro. It's just regular people seeing, like everyone on the Telegram finally seeing my face or whatever. Even though my face is all over Twitter, I try to make it known that, like, hey, this is what I look like. See me if you want to. I don't care. I'll see you guys in the bull market. I'll be at the parties. I'll be turned. I'll be the young one trying to pop a bottle. Hey, Sloth Nose, Crypto Sloth Nose. I want to pay for that bottle, man. $5,000 bottles in Vegas, bro. It's crazy.
Nice, man. And you can see there's obviously a lot of buyers that have come in here, but there's ARB bots in here as well. I don't know how many of these are going to be ARB bots. Maybe the ones that are just the lower double figures.
Yeah. But it'll be the $20.
Yeah. It'll be proportional. I think it's proportional to like the buyers and the sells that they're actually, like, if there was nothing happening in here, it might be like $2, $3, $4. But because there's like, $1,300 buyers and the ARB bots.
Nice.
This is the magical ARB bots that everybody was like
the math, bro.
Thinking that the Atropa dev created, but it's actually just the bots on the chain.
It's Richard's bot, dude. It's literally the AMM bot he talked about, the automated market maker. He spoke about it for such a long time, and then when everything started to happen with the Atropa, they're like, "What are these bots that are happening?" It's like, bro, what? He talked about it for a year straight about how that was the thing holding us back for the longest, was the AMM bot being correct. So he literally worked on the AMM bot being awesome so that we could have stuff like this. So we could have arbitrage. Like the $20 sales in this pool are because they bought it out of another pool and paid users and sold it in this pool and still paid users. So you win every time, bro. It's a no-brainer.
Absolutely. And I think you're one of the few people that's really, I feel like that's really paid attention to some of those key points that I don't hear any of the maxis talking about. A lot of the maxis will
The maxis.
basically emphasize the talking points that
They want to hear. That's selective hearing, bro.
exactly. I feel that it's very selective, and I think we would do the same as well. I try to be as objective and neutral as possible, but I think
Mhm.
some of the talking points that you've come up with, it's like I haven't actually heard people talking about these things. Like even there was a clip that Zach shared the other day about pDAI, and Richard was saying, somebody gave me a call and told me that he knew how to peg pDAI based on the MakerDAO contract. I was actually looking for that clip for so long, and I was like, Zach, the big dog, he found it. And it's like, have people forgotten these things? Have people forgotten these things? And you're getting all these maxis like pDAI is a scam. And, there's this one guy, Collector Mine, shout out to Collector Mine. He like fuds everything. He's like, oh, you guys are just, it's like, it's been out of peg for X amount of days. You're running a false narrative. It's like, bro, nobody said it was at peg. How can it have run out of peg? It's never been at peg. That's our destination. And he's thinking like, oh, you guys are just trying to extract liquidity and get people to buy your bags. And it's like, it's probably what you're trying to do, actually.
Yeah.
Like, honestly
telling
speaking,
people to buy Pulse is telling people to buy our bags. So like anybody says that, it's a terrible narrative to say. It's like, we're all trying to do that. What do you mean? It's the whole point.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, so this is the thing. I think fundamentally everybody does have that drive, right? But hand on my heart, even with the Atropa ecosystem, I was talking about it before I even owned a token. I talk about things that I find interesting, and then to capture my attention and keep my interest there, to keep me researching it, then I started to buy. But I saw that thing going, what is going on here? I want to share this with the world. And so I find it really, I just let it go. I try and let it go, but it's like really, people have called me evil. Someone called me evil for mentioning these things, and from my perspective, I'm like, bro, I'm trying to share this thing that I want you guys to ride on this thing. I think this is going to be fine with or without you, but I'm desperately trying to show you. Have an open mind, have an open heart. You could be missing out on one of the best narratives in crypto. But you guys are so close. You're thinking in Nintendo 64 days, and we're already on whatever the newest Nintendo is. I don't even know. So it's like, keep an open heart and an open mind, just like Richard. Richard's opinions adapt and evolve over time. He's not like it's this one thing and he stays with it. Successful people have a growth mindset. Their mind is continuously expanding and growing, and this is an ecosystem. This is a blockchain. It's not something where it's just one token to enrich the people who hold that one token. It's a blockchain. It's a city where everybody can win if we all just like see what's going on.
He said, please build on this, build on this, build on this. What are we doing? We're building on it. We're making meme coins, whether you agree with them or not. They have to be here. Like there's it's the same. Richard said that he didn't like ETH at first. He said it was garbage. Then guess what? He changed his mind. He was like, oh, wait, it's not garbage. So people can change their minds. Whether it's like, I see Hexicans now that are like, oh, I want to degen in meme coins. It's like, good. Please, you have to, bro. Get off your back. They've been wrecked on Hex for so long that they're like, I'm tired of this. I watched Teddy do a 800x. I watched this do a 500. I do this 100x. So they're just watching gains pass them by. And it's not necessarily get out of your diamond handbags, but like have a portion where you degen out, right? It's like, I think Hans Crypto, he kind of taught that a lot, where it's like, take 5% and go gamble, because you could make your whole bag, your whole 95% bag back times 2 with 5%. It's insane. So why not try that? It's even if you fail, you're gonna win somehow. Like I bought the Teddy, I caught like a 3x on it, and then it crashed crazy, and I was like, God damn, I lost on it. I saw gains, but I was so like, you know what I mean? You FOMO, so then you watch your bag go to dust, and then you buy more because you know that, okay, it did this gain this time, crashed, it's going to do these gains again. So that's the same thing with everything that crashes 80%. They're gonna come back up. Like EHEX, it's cheap. Maria just said in the IRC chat logs, hey, it's gonna go back to a penny. So it's a 2x from now. Whether you guys want to buy it or not, it's a 2x from now, 100%. 100%. It's gonna go to a penny again. So whether it goes down to a tenth of a penny first, right? It's just up to you.
Yeah, I think now Hex is going to start doing exactly what these kinds of charts are doing. Exactly the thing, because they're going to be bonded up with all the things in Atropa. It's going to start doing exactly the same thing, and
That'd be
it's going to be
interesting.
like, oh man, it's going to be very interesting. I really hope that it opens up a lot of the maxis' minds and go, oh, hang on a minute, we've actually got this work of art already on our blockchain that's now benefiting us. We closed our mind off to it, but now we have to open our mind to it because it's actually benefiting us. This benevolent whale that we thought was like a scammer that's trying to rug us and extract liquidity. Shout out to Shane Hart Schuler. So Shane Hart Schuler, who, you know, he's protecting his brother's coins. So we
Hey,
we got to respect him for protecting his brother's coins, but he has to see these people have to. I want people to see these opportunities. You don't have to buy it; just have
for
an
sure.
open mind and an open heart, and just watch what's actually happening. That's all that I want people to do. So, and
I
it
mean,
is hard
ultimately,
because.
oh
Go
my
on,
bad, go
sorry.
ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was going to say it is hard because one of Richard's big talking points is don't trade. So when you were talking about Hansi Crypto and even Somi talks about this, have your 10% lottery. You know, it's like anything, right? It's when Richard talks about don't trade, the way that I take it is like, don't take your whole bag and go and trade it because you're going to lose it. But I don't think he's telling anyone to say, you know what, if you want to just go and if you want to go to the casino and, you know, spend a little bit of weekend money and have a bit of a gamble, yeah, okay. Sometimes you're going to win, sometimes you're going to lose. I think when he says don't trade, it's not like, you know, don't he's all in on crypto, for example, and he encourages people to be all in on crypto, but he also
Exactly.
encourages people not to trade. Being all in on crypto is, in a way, it is a trade. You're trading like this financial system for this financial system. So it's not like it's not black and white. It's not black and white, but I can understand like the cognitive dissonance people would feel in hearing that message from Richard, but then also going, well, if I trade, I'm like betraying the principles of Richard. But people are betraying the principles anyway. Like Hex dumped minus 99.9%. People didn't hold. People were saying they had the long-term
Exactly.
gratification, but they didn't. They wrecked it. So yeah, I think it's okay to do it with what you feel comfortable with. It's really okay. It's as long as you're not 100% trading and you're just doing it in bits, like honestly 100% trading, you have to have a certain kind of mindset and emotional detachment. You have to be in front of the charts all day. But on the whole, man, like most people lose trading. That's a
For
fact.
sure,
It's
for
not
sure. But it's how are you trading? So it's like Richard was the greatest
exactly.
trader, right? So it's like if I'm ratio trading, I'm not necessarily. I mean, I could like say if I take my pulse, I put it in the ink, right? And like ink or pulse starts to pump versus ink. It's like, yeah, I lost out on the pulse, but I'm still doing well, like dollar value wise. So yes, I lost out on the pulse gains, but I'm still doing well dollar value, which we're all trying to beat the dollar, right? We're ultimately in crypto, you beat the dollar, right? On a chain, you're trying to beat the gas token. So yeah, you don't want to trade and lose versus pulse, but you know, you're not going to get like cleared out wrecked trying to ratio trade, but you're going to get cleared out wrecked trying to buy the tops. And that's the thing. It's like, don't FOMO, buy the dips, buy the blood. Literally, Sami screams it all day. It's like, buy things when they're down 80%, buy things
Yeah.
when they're down 90%, not FOMO the top because everyone else is talking about it. Like when everyone's shilling Mike on Twitter, me as well. It's like, you know, it's more about like, look what we did. It's not like, go buy it. You know, it's like, hey, look, this thing is running crazy, but you know, don't necessarily go ape into the top. But you know, if you had bought it after it did 100x, you might be like, oh, it's not going to do anything more, and then it does 6-7x past that. So it's, you know, there's always
Absolutely.
the gamble.
And, you know, something like Ink, it's a reward token. So this is the Ink chart. So yes, we've got the 85% dip. So this is on the hour. And then against Pulse Chain, it's had an 86% dip. So these are the opportunities that you should be looking for, not chasing the tops, not chasing
Yep.
those kinds of gains. It's very hard not to, especially when they look so damn good. But now it's
Yeah.
like now it's a good time to buy. But
Yep.
people really need to switch their mindset. So already, if you bought that bottom, you've had a 2x basically. So
That's literally a bottom signal. When you 2x from the bottom, you know, hey, you're out of that bloodiness. And you know, there's still players with money. Obviously, we did a 700x. Like when I keep trying to tell people in the Telegram, like, hey, this guy has this much money because he bought it at, you know, a tenth of a penny, and we went to 3 cents. He didn't sell the top; he sold the bottom. Bullish, right? I saw a lot of capitulation because it's my token, right? So I'm looking at all the buyers and sellers like way harder than any other asset. So I'm looking at people that bought like $7,000 at the top ish, right? Like 2 to 2.7 cents. And then they're selling at like a penny and sub penny. And everyone's freaking out like, oh my God, the whales are dumping the chart. But no. You have to understand that they're paying you because they're losing on their trade already. So they bought and they're paying you in ink as well as paying the chart in the loss versus the P&L, it's red. Like that's what you can see on deck screen. Or if you go to the P&L, you can see if they actually won or they lost on a lot of the sales. And when I see like a $500 sell, you look at the P&L and they're negative $400. It's like, oh, rip, you suck because you didn't actually make money. You tried to buy, you bought the FOMO and you sold the bottom. That's literally what you're not supposed to do. But ultimately you're always going to have that. But the thing is, with like I say, with this coin is you get paid when people paper hand, you get paid. So it's good. And then you also get paid when people diamond hand because price goes up. So it's a win-win. Like I say, reward tokens are definitely the meta on Pulse Chain. I think I have a hard time buying a token now that doesn't pay me in something, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, definitely shifting the majority of my portfolio to that kind of thesis as well now. So, okay, so we were talking about the plans for Mike. When are you looking at launching these other two tokens? Do you have anything in mind? How far away are you thinking?
No expectation of profit from the work of others. No, I mean, essentially, I don't know. Just this. I mean, you got a nice pickup on Mike now, so I kind of want to see all-time high before I start to push into another project because I don't want people to see people just capitulate this project into the next one and try to FOMO. Because I still think that this is a solid meme, a solid project, and Ink went to $10 and it crashed. So ultimately, we crashed because Ink crashed in the beginning. So Ink went to $10, and then when it went down to $7, it's a 30% dip on the asset that we're paired to. So we went down like 60% because of that. Like we're a leverage play on Ink, right? But if a Ink crashes, we're gonna also crash because it's our main lick pool. Unless buyers keep us up, but it's hard to do something like that. And then really Pulse crashed too. So like the whole market went down. A1A pumped, right? There's a nice pool with A1A. So A1A went up like 40% yesterday off the Corey stream.
Oh,
Which one? What's that? Ink Pulse? Yeah. Ink's a banger, bro. Ink's a banger.
So what I wanted to do here. So there was this is Ink Pulse. So what? Here we go. So I think it was like.
Yeah, I bought it like 20,000. So whatever that is, I can't even tell. Oh, nice. Almost a 3x.
Look at this go. I was creating liquidity pools all the way down here, and I'm very, very happy that I did because it was definitely like as it was going down, it's like, man, have I made the right decision here? I'm not too sure, but yeah, I'm pretty goddamn happy with it now. So
also another thing that I think could be very bullish. It'll be weird to see though, because I don't. So Richard made the pools in the very beginning with Pepe and stuff like that, and Bitcoin tokens that weren't his, right? So it's interesting to see the V2 farm slot. Like what happens when he adds meme coin as the V2 slot? Are we going to be able to vote with the incentive token, right? Is the Mike Ink pair going to be able to be in V2 farms and then be able to earn ink? Is that essentially what could happen? Is Teddy going to be able to be paired with something and like with Pulse and get ink rewards? And you know what I mean? Like that's what I'm really bullish to see is like if ink is a DAO token, which has been talked about. PulseX was supposed to be a DAO token, but I want to say that it's ink now. I saw some videos. I also got schooled by one of my buddies that ink could probably be the DAO token versus PulseX. So if ink is the DAO token, then essentially Mike wallet has been earning a whole bunch of ink, and benevolent things could happen. If that's something we could vote on, then guess what? We'll have a Mike ink pool in the V2 farms, and that's just speculation. But I think that Richard, to move forward with this change, he has to do something like that. And that wallet right there.
So here's the Mike wallet. So even in the last, since you've been streaming, so I brought this up before. I think it was 1969. I think so. It's generated 5 ink in the space of just a couple of hours. So this is the kind of beast mode that these tokens have. So I'm gonna have to start rounding this up soon because I've got to get to a class. But if anyone's got any questions, please shoot away some questions in the comment section. So I've tried to.
If you look at that wallet, bro, I think it says almost 2,000 ink since nine days ago. That's
Correct.
crazy,
So
bro.
it's 1,000. So I'll see if I can zoom in here. So for people's benefit, so it's 1,974 since the token was launched. So when were we launched? So in the space of 2nd of March. Oh wow. Okay, yeah. So 9 days. Well, just like you said. So in
Yep.
9 days, it's generated almost 2,000 INC, and in the space of just under 2 hours, it's generated 5 ink. So these
What happens when
are.
ink goes to $1,000?
Exactly. Exactly. This is the thing. So people, I mean, ink has proven
Billions.
itself at the minute to be the highest. And
Yeah.
man, so this is another thing that I want to point out. So if you want to compound your gains, ink is an awesome token to provide liquidity on. So I've created about upwards of 50 liquidity pools, and just experimenting with different liquidity pools, different concepts, different ideas, and okay, volume, which kind of token. So my best is, I mean, no nukes is a freaking beast. No nukes and pulse chain is an
Yes, sir.
absolute beast. And then anything with pDAI and anything with ink was a beast. So ink is actually like, it's so good. So you can get these rewards, and then you can create liquidity pools with ink and whatever, and then get more rewards. So you're compounding on
Mhm.
your rewards. Like, the opportunities here, man, and then you can just sit back on those rewards. You can keep adding into your liquidity pool. So
Also,
it's
the other thing I was gonna say is that wallet, the Mike wallet, it's the Cool wallet, COO. It's taken all the ink. It's paid for Dex tools. It's paid for Dex screener. It's the only thing that $1,300, right? And then everything else has been to like exactly what you said. No nukes. We put up a big no nukes pair. Like I think it's like 7, 8K, something like that. And I've been adding to that because I know that no nukes is its main pair is with ink as well, and it's actually Mike and ink is a thicker LP than no nukes and ink. So it's like we're battling with the 414 kind of with like the ink LP, like which one's going to be higher, which one's going to do better. So when I paired a no nukes with Mike, that's what I was doing with the ink rewards. I was either pairing it to no nukes or I was pairing it to ink heavier. So basically the dev wallet, my wallet, has been benevolent with what it's been doing so far. And when you pair with no nukes, the arbitrage between the no nukes ink and then the mic ink is heavier than something of like if it's paired to pulse only. Because it has a price versus ink, and so do we. So like, and then we have a price, so it's kind of like A, B, and it's like the C destination. So it's cool to have a no nukes pair. And then I'm trying to be one of the bigger no nukes pair with the 414. So they have to see me, right? They're gonna be like, "What is Mike? What is Mike? What is Mike?" And yeah, I think I'm gonna send some Mike to their wallet, to the 414 wallet, just for fun. Might as well.
Yeah, and just to this comment as well. So these are the kinds of things that we're talking about, Patrick. So I think everybody's focus is on the Richard Hart tokens. One, I don't think we're even in the depth of the bull market yet. So don't lose your faith in the Richard Hart tokens. But what we're trying to share is that Pulse Chain is a blockchain. So when you look at these tokens against against Pulse Chain, it's done massive X's. Against Ink, it's done massive X's against Ink. Mike has done hundreds of X's against INC. So there's things happening on this chain. If you look within what's actually happening within this chain, the problem is everybody's
Mhm.
focus is on the core tokens, and that's really good. Those core tokens will have their time in the sun, and they're slowly growing. But there's a lot of things happening on this chain, man. If you just open your eyes up and you see what's actually going on, don't lose hope. There's a lot of things happening on Pulse Chain that I'm personally extremely bullish on, because I'm trying to look for these opportunities and present these opportunities to you guys so you can actually get involved with it. So, any last comments that you want to make, Almighty? We got this one as well. So Richard Hort, Richard Hort. So we got that one as well. What have we got? Maddie, we can create a pool with any pair we like, and we get rewards every time people buy and sell any of the 2 coins in the pair. That's right. So that's what liquidity pools do. So I've got some videos on liquidity pools. So you got V1, you got V2 on PulseX. V1 doesn't get you rewards. V1 just goes to buy and burn. V2 gets you the rewards in the token. So you put token A against token B, and when volume goes through those tokens, you're getting a fee on that volume, and it just auto compounds into that liquidity pool. So I've got a few videos about that, so you can check that out if you like to actually see how it works. So
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
Saint Wolf, shout out to
the
Saint.
heart. Oh, I was gonna say the heart token too. It pays the hex EHEX LP. So like when it pays the LP and rewards when you buy it, right? The and then Richard tweeted Doom on EHEX. The actual rewards that people earned, same thing with Hex LP from Sunny, is the actual rewards that people earned were like there was a whole bunch of volume flooded through that EHEX PHEX pair. So you actually made money off the rewards already. So you're printing money, right? And then the money printed that you printed is earning money as well. So like you're heavier in EHEX now in your rewards, but like if you believe the EHEX and PHEX go to parity, then you're straight. You're hanging out. You just made money off of the fees that are flooding through the pair. So you did good.
100%, man. So shout out to Saint Wolf as well, longtime supporter of the channel. Thank you, Saint Wolf. So Saint Wolf's also got a YouTube channel where he's starting to create content for Pulse Chain, Atropa, PLS Pup. So yeah, guys, understand these kinds of comments as well, where it's going to come, guys. Like honestly, I think, in my opinion, just stay positive, and it really goes without saying, bet what you're only willing to lose. If it really is making you anxious, it's because you probably put too much in it. But I have a lot of faith that this chain results speak, man. And yes, at the moment, because people are so focused on the core tokens, they're not doing the kind of X's that Solana is doing yet. But within this chain, things that are happening. Once they start doing those X's, the results do all the talking. So yeah, awesome, Gabos. So Gabos Leet is bullish on the chain, and these things will come, guys. So Almighty, I'm going to close this up. So we'll round everything up. So stop sharing. Anything that you want to, any last minute comments that you want to make, Almighty?
Just on the Pulse Chain eco, is you're gonna see a lot of things pop up. This is my first bull market, so I can't sit here and say with experience, but speaking to enough people with experience kind of gives you secondhand experience. So you're gonna see a lot of things pop up in the market. You're gonna see Solana rip. You're gonna see Ethereum go crazy, Bitcoin go crazy. You're gonna see all these things go crazy, and you're gonna look at your tokens and be like, why are my tokens not moving? Bro, you'll have your time in the sun. I promise. Just sit on your bags, and if you don't capitulate, you're gonna do fine. I guarantee you, Pulse Chain is gonna move in higher price than it is now in a year. So just hold on to your bags, man, and have fun on the way, man. Network, meet people, live your life. Don't be looking at the charts and stressed out about your money, and just live your life as if you never had an investment in crypto. And when you come back to it in 6 months, don't leave. Keep paying attention. But when you come back to caring about should I sell or not, in 6 months you're gonna be higher in value. Just have fun in this bull market, man. Ultimately, just you're gonna catch gains, man. It's about holding your bag.
That's it, man. And yeah, great message to end on. And again, we've got ecosystems of reward tokens. So if you want to do that, if you want to just buy these reward tokens and then just walk away for 6 months, go and live your life, and you come back and you see the yield that you're generating, and then they do X's, then the reward token that you purchased has also done X's. The opportunities are here, guys, but it's more of a long-term sustainable growth, in my opinion. That's what Pulse Chain is going to be all about. It's not going to be this kind of like hex 10,000x and dump. I don't think Richard Hart wants that. I think that was not an experiment. I think it was perfect as it was.
Kind of an experiment, right?
Of course, because it was his first crypto, right? So he would have taken learnings from that. Okay, how do I avoid these minus 99.9% dips? And he would have learned from that, man. And what's happening on Pulse Chain is an evolution on Hex as well. So stay focused on the big goal, guys. So any last minute comments, Almighty, before I end the live stream?
Mike to the moon, baby. Yes, I appreciate it. Oh, I will be back on. We'll talk about the rewarder ecosystem in depth. We'll talk about A1A in depth, everything to do with A1A, A1AX, B2B, B2BX, like there's the whole, just everything, man. There's a big conversation about it. That's a 2-hour stream by itself. So we'll get on there soon, right?
Sounds good, man. Yeah, I think Sunny briefly explained that, obviously. And whoever wants to come on and chat about that, I'd love to have you back on. So whenever you want to talk again about anything that you're working, that you're cooking about, you just let me know.
For sure, man. Appreciate it.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Almighty. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Again, share this stream around, like, subscribe, all those kind of good things. No expectations here. I just want you guys to enjoy and grow and develop with me, and we can all win together. So that's my big hope. That's my big vision for this whole channel. So it's all about mindset. So let's all take care of each other, and we'll see you all next time. See you later, everybody.
All right, bro.